faked an entire trip to Venice in my pajamas. And you all believed it. But you had a lot to say. Check it out.
In the age of social media, vacations have transformed from personal escapes to highly curated performances for the social media feeds, likes, comments, and shares. Vacations are no longer what they used to be. And I'm sure that if you open Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you will see somebody vlogging, sharing, and overall performing on their vacations. And not to say that I don't share my vacations as well. I mean, I share some aspects of it. But since when did we start performing every time, including times when we're supposed to be, I don't know, resting? Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I am Patience. And on this channel, we discuss society's impacts on our lives, our finances, and how we can take back that power and make more intentional decisions and live more intentional lives for ourselves. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Let's talk about the rise in performing on vacation for social media. It is no secret that many influencers and now everyday social media users construct elaborate facades of lavish trips, perpetuating unattainable standards and pressuring others to overspend in pursuit of similar experiences. Meanwhile, the average American is struggling with limited time off and financial constraints, making authentic, fulfilling vacations harder to achieve. So in this video, we're going to be exploring the cost of vacations, if the vacations you keep seeing on Instagrams are like even real, what vacations for the average American looks like in terms of cost, and how to enjoy yourself on an actual vacation. Even when you see those other vacations on social media, knowing what is real, what is not real. This is all about media literacy and financial literacy as well. While it may look like it on Instagram, you do not need to break the bank to have a fabulous time on vacation. As we know, to even go on vacation, you need time off. Most Americans are not getting that many PTOs to be on vacations 24/7, which is sometimes what it looks like on social media. The average American spends about $15.78 per person on vacation. So for a family of four, you are looking at over $6,000 to go on a vacation. This includes the flights, the accommodation, what you're going to eat when you get there, and transportation during the vacation. And while this may sound inexpensive to some, this is for like all trips. It includes big trips, small trips. Obviously, if you're going on an international trip or more exotic trips, it's going to cost even more. For example, if you're going to go on a vacation to Bali or somewhere in Africa, Asia, that ticket alone is well over $1,500. You've bypassed that average cost. A lot of Americans also vacation America. For example, I am in Dallas. If I wanted to vacation in Austin or Houston, I can just drive there. So that also factors in for those little trips as well. So this is how much it costs you, and then the time you take off. A lot of Americans get 11 days off for the federal holidays. Not everyone, depending on where you work, it might be different. Also, if you're a full-time worker or part-time worker, but a lot of Americans get those 11 federal holidays off. And they also get on average about 10 days of PTO off per year. And that's going to be enough for very few vacations. Now, there's a way of putting it together with your weekends to make those days longer and more consecutive to take a longer vacation if you want to. The longest vacation I ever took was about a 2-week vacation, or like 12-13 days, and that was recently when I went on an international trip to Ghana. And those typically will be longer just because the flight alone, sometimes you fly one day, you get there the next day, and then when you're flying back, it's the same thing as well. And historically, vacations are not something that people take all the time. I'd say it's more common in the last 100 years versus prior, and even in some societies, it's not something that's like highly recognized. But when people take vacations, they want to go rest, lounge, take time off, clear their minds, not worry about much. And as we know, social media can always take a good thing and turn it into a performative art form. Influencers, travel bloggers, and everyday users often post meticulously curated images and videos of exotic destinations, luxurious accommodations, and extravagant activities. However, as we all know, what can appear to be glamorous online can also be an illusion. One of the things influencers would do is that they often stage their content. Many influencers rent luxurious vehicles, stage photos in high-end resorts they don't actually stay in. They also use green screens and editing tools to create entirely fake backdrops. I've even seen some where they'll like go to restaurants and they don't eat there. They just take a picture as if they ate, but they just sat down and then they take the picture and they leave. Sometimes they will post a picture of the hotel and then you assume they're staying there because why else would they post it? But then they're staying in an entirely different hotel. Or even for places that are beautiful that they go to, they will Photoshop it to make it look even better than it actually is. And I'm sure you've seen some of those Instagram versus reality videos where people like go on vacation after seeing one destination on Instagram or TikTok over and over again, and they go and it doesn't even look the same. You can tell the coloring has been changed and then people get disappointed.
Went on a luxury dream vacation to Bali. Only problem is I was actually at IKEA the entire time. We're doing a little photo shoot right now. See if they'll believe that I'm actually on this influencer vacation. So here's the game plan. I got dressed up in hair, makeup, wardrobe, everything. I also got Instagram story footage. That way I can post on my Instagram story like a video of the room as if I was actually there. Actual Snapchats of his trip so that I could reuse them for my own.
Another way content creators do this is that they just go on influencer trips or sponsored trips and they act like it's a personal vacation. So they essentially go on a free vacation where they didn't have to pay for anything, the accommodation, the flights, nothing at all. They post it and you think that they're just using their own money to go on there and it's a sponsored trip. And even more than that is when they post for like flights on like fake private jets, and then they take photos and then they post it. And that's why you can see so many pictures of people on private jets as if they have the money for it, while there are literally places that you can go and you can stage pictures looking like in a private jet, and you say you're like in the middle of California.
Some guy built a fake interior of a private jet in Los Angeles. They used like a movie set. They just rent it out to influencers so that they can take photos where it looks like they're on a private jet, but they're not. And they charge $70 an hour. I think it's booked out like 12 hours a day, probably doing like 20 to 40K a month. And I can't imagine the margins would be less than 80%.
And some of these sets were actually created for movies, but then influencers will pay so much money just for like an hour or two of taking the pictures and leaving. So these places have become more common to help influencers and regular people sometimes who want to become influencers just fake their life. And so while they didn't actually spend money on some of these things, you're busy trying to keep up with them and they don't even have it like that. And because this ends up affecting our budgets, it affects our finances as a whole over a long-term period. Question, do you know how many vacations the average American takes in their lifetime? I'll pause. Okay, do you have an answer? Type in the comment section and then come back. The average American takes 59 vacations in their lifetime, which is less than one vacation per year when you account for the true lifespans of people being about 77 years old. They also spend on average $118,000 for all of these vacations combined. And like I said, some of these are big, some of these are small, but it's averaged about $2,000 per vacation, which is slightly more than the $1,500 we said at first, but that is per vacation, so it could include family vacation rather than the per person. This is how much they're spending on their vacation. And while that's still a lot of money, it obviously doesn't give you the type of vacations that people often look and engage with on social media. The pressure to emulate influencers or peers on social media can lead to overspending and even going into debt. 2023 Bankrate survey revealed that 60% of Americans have gone into debt to finance a vacation using credit cards, personal loans, or even buy now, pay later services. This cycle of financial strain can undermine the very purpose of vacations, relaxing and rejuvenating, because the entire time you're thinking, oh my goodness, like I've overspent on this vacation, I have to pay back this debt, rather than focusing on what is truly important, relaxing and getting yourself together to go back to the real world. I remember watching this video, I think it was Millennial Money, and this girl was talking about how she spent about $32,000, maybe $35,000 to become a travel influencer. And she literally made like almost no money on that trip, and she was in debt. Fun traveling, but after she had to be stuck with all that debt. And the worst part of it is that she didn't become like a huge influencer. She didn't really make it after going into over $30,000 of debt to be a travel influencer. I thought that was a very bad decision then, and I still think it's a bad decision now. Overindulgence in social media inspired travel trends such as looking at overpriced accommodations or purchasing designer outfits for vacation photo shoots contributes to the financial burden. These decisions prioritize appearance over actual travel experience, like authentic travel experience, leaving people dissatisfied when they come back from vacation. Yeah, you have all these cute pictures, but the actual memory of them is not something fun and in the moment. It's very staged, and there's nothing wrong with staging pictures to post on Instagram. I do that all the time too. But when you're on vacation, there should be a level of authenticity and mindfulness that goes with your experience. No one, and I mean no one, you know what, actually let me leave room for an extreme situation. But over 99.99% of people are not on vacation 365 days per year. So when you see influencers who seem to be on vacation all the time, they're lying to you. They are absolutely lying to you. Either it's their job to be on vacation, or the most popular tactics are being used. One being that they take so many pictures at different areas, and then once they come back, they keep posting as if they're on vacation. Let's say you go on a 1-week vacation to Paris. You can go to so many different destinations, have different clothes, look like you are there for different days, and then take pictures all in different clothes. And then once you fly back even after the week, you can keep posting as if you're there and tagging Paris, Paris, Paris for the next week, 2, 3. So people still think you're in Paris, but you're probably like, I don't know, in the middle of Indiana, you're back home. Nothing wrong with Indiana. You're back, but you're posting as if you're still there. And sometimes it's not just like a coincidence, like, oh, I found this picture, let me post it. No, a lot of them would like make outfits for this particular place. So once they go on that vacation, they're just hitting different popular spots, and then they will take different clothes, change 2, 3, 4 times per day, so that you don't see that they're wearing the exact same clothes and be like, oh, this was the exact same day. She's just posting old pictures. They just make it seem like they're there longer than it is. Some will also take pictures and not post it for that time. So maybe like a month or 2 later, they'll post it again and tag Paris. And then it'll be like, oh, they went back to Paris. But no, they've not been. They're just posting as if they've gone back when it happened. So now let's talk about some tips so that you can understand how to enjoy your vacation, be mindful about it, and not overspend. Vacations do not have to be extravagant to be memorable. So here's some strategies that I've used, and it's highly recommended that you use to make a memorable and fun vacation without digging yourself into debt. One is to set a realistic budget, and realistic is a big part. For example, if I'm going on an international trip, especially to places in Africa, Asia, Australia, that ticket is not going to probably be under $1,500. And so if you're setting a budget of $2,000 for that entire trip, that is highly unrealistic, especially if you look at your accommodation. Some of these places charge in dollars for accommodations. Especially if you don't know the place very well, you want to be safe. You want to make sure they're going to places that is secure, to take these things into consideration. So definitely set a realistic budget. Look at how other people have done it. There are travel bloggers who talk about how to cut costs. Make sure it's realistic, effective, and safe. But there's so many ways that you can set a realistic budget for a vacation. For example, if I was going on vacation to California with some friends, well, it's very realistic for the budget to be $1,200. If you're all sharing an Airbnb, you're only staying there for like a few days. That's very realistic versus me trying to go to, say, Jamaica with the exact same budget. And once you have that realistic budget, start saving towards it. Since you don't go on vacation every single month, or at least most people don't, start saving towards it. So let's say that vacation is in September. In January, you can start saving towards it a few $100s per month. And so once that time comes along, you have the money to go to pay cash, and you're debt free. You can enjoy your vacation without worrying about what you have to pay back later. Another thing you can do is travel during off seasons. Now, off seasons are not becoming as much of a thing anymore because people are just traveling year round. But even then, there are some locations and destinations that have popular seasons and some that have off seasons. Typically in the summertime, if you're traveling, it's gonna be way more expensive than in the winter or even during the fall. Making sure that you're planning for those as well and finding ways that you can cut costs. And that's if you're purely going for enjoyment purposes rather than visiting people, or it has to be for a specific event. You can play with different dates and just see what is more affordable. Another thing that people really undermine is going on vacation locally or to not so popular destinations. There are some destinations that were not so popular and then they become popular, and then all of a sudden a lot of people go and then it just drives up the cost. For example, Ghana, typically been a popular destination, but I don't think it was as popular until a few years ago. And now during December, it's so crowded. And so when I was going to Ghana, I went in October instead of December because of just the traffic and so many foreigners going to it for the Christmas celebration. And because of that, it's just better to travel any other time except for December to Ghana. And that's what you want to look for. Also, just local destinations. That's something that I want to do in 2025. Look for local places in Texas to travel. Texas is such a big state and I've not seen a lot of it. So I want to start going to different cities to see what's around, and I want to travel within the United States. I've not been to all 50 states. I've probably been to maybe about 20 of them. So there's so much more that I want to see within the country and then also outside of the country. So if you don't have a lot of money now, you can do local trips, and then once you're out of debt, you have saved up for your emergency fund, and you have more money in your budget for more expensive trips, you can do international trips. Another thing you can do is leverage deals and rewards. So I'm a Delta Sky member, and so I earn a lot of points. So since I was a member in 2021, I've had at least 5 free trips or 5 free tickets to go on. Some of them I had a free ticket to go, but then I had to purchase my own return ticket. But then they also have other deals. I'm able to pay less when I use miles to pay. So there's a discount on that, which is absolutely great. I would definitely caution you about overspending just so that you can earn points. It is not worth it. But if you're just spending a credit card using it as a debit card and then you happen to have a lot of points, that's a good way to look at it and to use those rewards. And the last but probably one of the most important is to focus not just on the appearances, not what you're going to put on social media, but on the experience that you will have and what brings you joy, what will make this a memorable trip, and how you feel in the moment, and the joy and the memories that you can create to look back later on and still be fond of it. Don't just look at the appearances. When I went to Ghana, I was focusing so much on meeting people, family, and those were not things that I posted on there. Most days was meeting family. I was able to capture a few moments here and there that I wanted to share, but those were still authentic experiences that I look back and I'm like, oh, you know what, this is so great. Even like getting my hair done, that was such a good experience. I shared it online. In the moment, I was just thinking about what is it gonna do to my hair, how am I going to feel about it, and it's something I always wanted to do, not for social media, but I always wanted to try box braids, and I just wanted to capture it to share with my friends and family to let them know that, hey, Patience is getting it done after many years of wanting to. Which leads into the last part of avoiding performing on vacation for social media validation. Try to limit your social media consumption on vacation. Not that you can't enjoy social media while you're on vacation. I think it's one of the perfect time to do it, but leave space for the actual experience, especially if you travel, because you can always use social media when you're back home, but when you're on vacation, open your eyes and look around and see the world around you. Whenever I take vacation, my social media usage plummets because there is no way I'm going to be using social media all the time when I'm in a new environment that I could be looking at, experiencing, and capturing in memory and on my phone as well. But I don't want to keep experiencing social media that I can experience anywhere. I'm in somewhere new, so I want to experience where I am. You also want to make sure you define what is important to you on this trip. For me, it was meeting families and friends that I had not seen in over a decade, more than anything. But I also wanted to tour places in Ghana because I'd not been there so long. And even when I lived there, like I said, vacation is not that popular in a lot of other places. So we didn't go on vacations a lot. And because of that, I've not been to a lot of places just to tour. So we went and toured a few places, including Kakum National Park, which is a rainforest, and Cape Coast Castle. And those were very important because of the histories. I had learned about it way beforehand, and I also wanted to experience that. I didn't know when I'll be back, but until then, I was like, you know what? I need to do this. See, what is important to you? If you're in China, if you want to go to the Great Wall of China, is it because you really want to go to it, or because you think it'll be fun to capture? And even when you go to those places and you want to capture authentically. Don't overdo it. Sometimes we can tell on social media. If it's like too perfect, too curated, just enjoy, have fun. When I was in Kakum National Park and I was walking those bridge, I asked my sister to take a video of me and I was just going, but I was just enjoying the moment, just walking. You know, I just had fun with it and it captured it to make sure that the memory is fun. And I look back on those things fondly. Not just at the pictures, but I also remember because I was capturing it with my mind, not just with my camera. And to conclude, performative vacation on social media perpetuates unrealistic standards that often leads to overconsumption and financial stress. In a time when Americans have limited time off and faces economic challenges, prioritizing authentic, meaningful travel experiences over appearances is crucial. By focusing on what truly matters, which is relaxation, exploration, and connection, we can reclaim vacations as opportunities to enrich our lives rather than jeopardize our financial state. Social media's illusion of perfection might be enticing, but true fulfillment lies in creating memories. True memories that resonate personally, not performatively. So with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much. Let me know in the comment section, what are your thoughts on vacations on social media? When you go on vacation, do you post on social media? And how do you ensure that you are not performing, but rather you enrich your life, relaxing, exploring, and learning more wherever you go, rather than just capturing with a camera? And if this video added value to your life, be sure to like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.